All right. So customizations is what we're going to talk about. So in customization, as I told you, first thing we will talk is customizing the user interface. So you might have noticed when you create an object in Salesforce, by default Salesforce creates the page for it. All right. When you create a tab, by default the tab is created, or you get to see the tab there in the tab panel. So Salesforce by default creates user interface for everything that you create on it. All right. But sometimes you might not be happy with the default UI that Salesforce provides you. So Salesforce gives you standard UI for everything, for all standard, all custom objects. But sometimes you might want to make some certain changes on that user interface. Let's say you have all the fields in, usually you must have seen that Salesforce has fields in 2 columns. If you open any record, you'll see the fields are in 2 different columns. This is one column, this is one column, right? You might want to have all the fields in one column. You might want to do that. You might not want to see some of the fields here. Okay, you might want to reorder some of the fields. Let's say campaign thing you want to see at the top, and website you want to see at the top. So with reordering of the fields, these things you might want to do, right? So for this, Salesforce gives us an option, which is, so there are 2 things which you can do here. In fact, you can customize this interface. As I told you, there are 2 ways of customizing anything in Salesforce. One is through programming, one is without programming, the declarative method. So if we have to do the same thing using programming, then we'll have to use Visualforce, which is the programming language. If we do not want to use any programming here, then we will simply use our page layout option, which is a declarative method of changing the interface. This is page layout. Okay. Now using page layout, what we do, we do the customizations. Okay. So every object that we have in Salesforce, every object has page layouts. You create a custom object. Let's say project is a custom object. You have created the custom object. By default, Salesforce creates a page layout for it. See, by default there is a page layout created for it. So after creating object, do we always go and create a page? No. Salesforce by default creates a page layout for it, right? But if you want to customize that, we can go and do that. So for standard objects, you have to go to setup, and then go to customize, and then go to that particular object for which you want to change the page layout. Go to that object and select page layouts. Alright, so this is for standard objects. For custom objects, you have to go to setup and then click on create objects. Alright, so for your standard object, you will need to go to setup, customize, and select the object name and then work on it. For custom object, you will just need to go to setup, create objects, and then click on any of the object, and you will see the page layout there. Scroll down a little, you will see the page layout option. Here it is. Alright, so you want to edit the page layout, just go and click on edit. So the moment you click on edit page layout, you come to this screen page layout editor. Here you will have the option of editing the page layout in terms of moving fields from one position to the other position. Owner field, you want to move it down, see, drag and drop. Certain fields, if you don't want to see, the start date, remove it. There's a remove button here, click on this, remove it. Sometimes it may happen that some fields you don't want to put in the page layout, so you can remove the fields. Alright, so what all things can we do on the page layout? Reorder the fields, remove fields, reorder or remove fields. Okay, reorder or remove related list. What is a related list? Related list is basically list of related records, list of child records. So here if you see, we have the option of related list, but I don't think we have any related list for this object. We have no approval history is there, notes and attachments, any other child or object which is related to this as parent, like accounts and contacts. So contacts is the related list for accounts. So on the account page, you also might want to see the list of contacts under that account. So same way. So you can change the order of them, or you can remove some of them. There's one thing that you can do. Third thing that you can do here is make fields read only or required. Required means making a field mandatory. So if you want on the page layout, you can also make a field read only or required. So how will you do that? Go to any of the fields. You will see this remove button. Beside the remove button, you see this properties. Click on this. This will allow you to make it read only or required. Got it? Which means if you want certain fields to be required or read only, this is one more option. The other option that we have seen, making a field required, is while we create a field, at that point of time also you have an option of making the field required, right? And this is the second way of doing the same thing. Then you can put some custom buttons here. Or standard buttons as well. If you want to remove some of the standard buttons, custom button is something which we will need to understand programming before we can get into that. But just for understanding, if you want to add custom actions to the page, that can be done using custom buttons. But for that we need to understand programming, so we'll talk about that later. But some standard button, if you don't want to give the delete button on the page, remove that. See, now on this project page there is no delete button. So you can bring the delete button, or if you want, you can remove it. You want to remove the clone button, so remove the clone button. See, so the buttons that you don't want to be displayed on the page, those can be removed. So these are the things which can be done on the page layout, right? The way you want your page to look, you can just control the page layout. So that's First thing about page layout. Second thing that you need to understand about page layout is you can have multiple page layouts. For the same object, we can have multiple page layouts. Now, why would we need multiple page layouts for the same object? For different profiles. Now, who will tell me what does this mean? We can have multiple page layouts or different page layouts for different profiles. Anyone who wants to explain this? Why is this required, or why are we doing it this way? Why are we talking about multiple page layouts? How does that help?
For people with different kind of access, they can have different types of page layouts.
Right, but can we think? Your answer is absolutely correct, but can you think of a practical usage of it? Why would we need this kind of a setup practically?
To prevent some of the data to be shown to everyone and just for specific people, like maybe people who are higher up the ladder.
Right, exactly. So some profiles don't need to see some data, so we might just want to remove some fields from the page layout that they access. And for some people, they should see the data, but for them it should just be read only. So your page layout will help you make data read only for their page layout, right? So these kind of things. So everyone does not need to see same kind of page, and everyone should not have same level of access on the page. So for different profiles, we can have different page layouts. So you have the option of having multiple page layouts, right? So I'll just show you how to create a page layout. So you already have a page layout. So as I told you, whenever you create a custom object, by default, Salesforce creates one page layout for that object. So we were talking about this project object. Let me go back to this project object. You already have a page layout here. You want, you can create one more. One more page layout is created. You bring in the fields that you want and all everything. This page layout, I want the category to be here. So same thing, I mean, you will control everything the same way. Drag and bring in the fields. And your page layout is ready, you will just click on save. Once it's done, you will click on save. Now you have two page layouts for this object. Now, in case you have at least two page layouts, more than one, then only the page layout assignment concepts comes into picture. Otherwise, you just had one page layout, and whoever has access to this object will get to see that page layout only, right? Now, once you have two page layouts, then you have the concept of page layout assignment. Page layout assignment is what? Which profile will get to see which page layout? Very simple thing. So just click on page layout assignment, you will see a complete list of all the profiles. You just have to go and define which profile will get to see which page layout. Just edit assignment. Let's say for standard user from the project layout, I want to give him this my page layout. For chatter free user also, I want to give them another page layout. That is how it is. Fine. So this is about our page layout thing. Clear with everyone? So So why we create page layouts, and why do we need to create multiple page layouts, right? So it allows you to customize your interfaces. Very simple thing. I mean, this is a very simple requirement. We may have that requirement. We might want to display the fields the way we want, and we also might want to have different types of pages or different views of the pages for different profiles. So based on the profile, you can create different page layouts and assign it to profiles. That's it. As simple as that. Right. So now once we understand the page layout concept, there is just a small thing which is used a lot of times or asked in interview questions a lot of times. That is about making a field required. So for making a field required, we just saw that we have an option to make a field required through the page layout, right? Again, make a field required from the page layout. Now there is another option of making the page a field required as a part of the field attribute. So when you create a field, at that time also you have an option of making the field required. Yes, we have seen that thing. Now the point is that when you make a field required as a field attribute, and when you make a field required through page layout, what is the difference between these two things? Okay, so how does that page layout thing is different from the backend settings that we have earlier done? So how does these two things differ? This is basically what I want you to understand here. If you have an option of making a field required on the page layout, as well as you have an option of making a field required on the field itself, which one would you use? Which process will you use to make the field required? And what will be the logic behind that? So it's a very simple logic that we have to understand there. The logic is, if you make a field required as a part of field attribute, then if you make a field required as a part of field attribute, then what will happen? Then it will be always required. Some field which has been made required through the field attribute is always required. What does this always required mean? Always required means no matter which profile, no matter which page layout, no matter is it being entered through the page layout or through the data loader or through some other import option. Data might be data can be entered from your data loader and other stuff also, right? Import wizard and all. It always is not entered through page layout. So anything which is made required on the field itself is always required, no matter who is entering the data, what is the profile, and no matter what is the process of entering the data. Is it through page or it is through the backend upload? But for page layout, that is not the case. It is, if you make a field required on the page layout, it is required only when data is entered using that page layout. So which means if someone is entering the data from the backend, this required of the page layout will not work, because this is very particular to this page only. If someone with some other page layout is entering the data, again this will not work, because this is limited to this page layout only. Got this thing? So let's say we have account, and for account we have a field called website, right? Now if you make, let's say we have Soumya here. Soumya made this website field required on the field itself. Made it required on field attribute. And then we have Deepti. And Deepti made it required on page layout. Okay, there is a page layout called page layout 1 and she made it required on this particular page layout. Now the difference is that because for Soumya she has made it required on the field attribute, no matter how she enters data into the system, she always have to provide website, even when she is doing a backend upload. When you do an upload, that import wizard and all those things we have seen in our data management, right? So even when you are doing a bulk data operation, at that point of time also you have to supply the value for website, otherwise those records will not be inserted. For Deepti, because the field is required only on this page layout, when she does a backend upload and import, even if she does not supply the value for website, it will not throw an error, it will take it. Why? Because the value is important or required only on the page layout. On which page layout? On this page layout 1. Got this? So this is the logic here basically. Simple logic. Alright.
I have a question.
Yeah, please tell me.
So would you say that it would be better to do it through page layout when we are making it, rather than making it required as field attribute?
No, it's not about better or worse, or it's not about a generic thing. It depends on your requirement actually. So you cannot say that this approach will be good for all occasions, right? Sometimes you have that kind of requirement. Tell me, go ahead.
Yeah, because if I'm making it required on field attribute, then for every action that I have to take on the particular field, I have to remember that that was a required condition. But so that would increase the overhead of my work. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so that is what I told you. That depends on your requirement. What kind of field are we talking about? Or what process are we talking about? For example, sometimes it happens that some of the fields you always need data for those fields. Till the time there is no data on that field, the record does not make any sense to you. There is this. I'll give you an example. There is this company which does email campaigns to its clients, right? So all the contacts that they have. They made a rule that till the time there is no email ID, there is no point taking in that contact. There is no point creating the contact, because only way that they market or they reach their customers is through email. Now for them, it does not make a difference whether it is being entered through your page layout or through backend upload. They always need an email ID. If email ID is not there, the contact is completely meaningless. So some data is like that, some part of the data is like that, which always needs to have a value. For some data, you might want the end user to enter value when someone is entering in, data into it manually, and at the time of backend, you just might want to skip that part, right? Let's say opportunity amount. So you want your sales people to always estimate an amount for the opportunity, that okay fine, this is the amount that we are expecting. You always want them to do. If you don't make it mandatory, these guys will make calls and they will not enter. So this is again a practical scenario. The sales guy calls the customer. They do not have an idea of what customer will buy, right? And they keep the amount field blank. They just leave it blank. Why they leave it blank? Because they cannot estimate. But company tries to enforce this thing that you should ask the customer and you should try to figure out what product they are planning to buy and all. So for that reason, the company tries to make it a mandatory thing, right? But this is a situation where the company just might want to make it mandatory only for the sales people because they want to enforce this thing for them. But when all of a sudden the company wants to upload, let's say 100 opportunities, they realize that okay fine, last year's opportunities again we want to create here. At that point of time, they might not want to make the amount mandatory thing. At that time, they just want to leave it blank. so that they do not get any wrong calculations, or it does not go and affect their forecast and all those things. We just might want to keep it blank. So these things can be there. So if you have that kind of requirement where you feel that no, data is going to be always required, you have to make it required on the field level, field attribute. Okay, and these kind of fields are, this is called universally required. So if you feel that the data is going to be required, no matter who is entering, from where the data is coming, every time, without that particular value, the record is not complete, it cannot be created, you make it universally required. If you feel that no, for enforcing some practice for your users, you want to make the field required, put it in the page layout. Alright, so it depends on our requirement. Okay, so now we have understood about the page layout. The next thing that we are going to talk about is designing email templates. So designing email template is a very simple thing. I think you all have designed some email template. When you write an email template, it's more like, first of all, you design it and then you send it, right? So designing email template is not a difficult thing. The only thing that we have to understand here in Salesforce is, when we are talking about designing an email template, we are primarily talking about creating a draft template, right? A draft of the email template thing, and then you just need to combine it with certain fields from the data. Let's say you want to send that email to a contact, so you might want to merge some of the fields from contact, like the first name of the contact or some data from that object, right? Those things you might want to connect, merge into the email template. Okay, and then you just save it. So as the name suggests, template, so you'll just design the template, keep it, and this template can be then reused. Okay, so multiple times you can use the same template. All right, so because we have data because we have data in Salesforce, sometimes we might want to send automated emails to the data, things like that. So for that, you can just design the template, keep the template, and these templates can be used for sending the emails, or automated send of emails and all that. So we will talk on those lines. How to send the emails automatically, that is something which we will talk later, maybe after 2 sessions or so. But how to design the email template, that we will see. Okay, so designing email template has got nothing to do. You just have to design the template, where you have to go and define the subject line and the body. But what we need to understand here is, there are 4 types of email templates which Salesforce allows. One is a plain text email template. So plain text email template is the normal email template, where there is no formatting, nothing, only plain text, simple text, no formatting of text, no colors, no images, nothing. Okay. Second is HTML using letterhead. This is where you can do all sort of formatting. Okay, put images, you can use the letterhead, the backend letterhead, you can put hyperlinks, everything can be done here. Third option that we have is custom. For this, you need to write HTML code. You can do everything, but you have to write HTML code for the entire template. And the fourth one that we have is a Visualforce email template. Visualforce email template is created using Visualforce, the programming side of it. So these are the 4 different email templates that we have in Salesforce. You can use any one of these to create your template. How will you create that email template? Need to go to setup, communication template, email templates. And from this email template, you will go and click on new template. In the new template, you will select which type of email template you want to create, text, HTML, custom, or without using letterhead. Just click on next. I'll create a text email template. You click on next, and then you supply the value to the subject. Let's say you want to send this email to contact. So here you have to write the name of the contact. So for getting the name of the contact, you have to merge the field, because for different contacts the name should change, right? I cannot write one static name here. So you will select the fields from here, contact fields. Which field of contact? First name. Okay, so once you select the object and the field here, you will get some value here in the third box. Copy this and paste it here. That is what you have to do. Alright, and then write whatever your message is. Okay, so after thanks you want to write sender's name, sending user's name. Then you just will go and select sending user fields, full name of the sending user. Again copy this and put it here. Put a name and unique name for the email template. And before the template can be used, you always have to make it available for use. So the email template needs to be made available for use before it can be used. Till the time you do not make it available for use, the end users cannot use it. Right? That's it. Then your template is ready. So this is how email template is designed. So I would want you guys to, so Visualforce is something that not required now. Okay. HTML code, in case you have written HTML code, it's fine. Otherwise you just leave this one also for now. Once you understand Visualforce, you will also start understanding this. Anyone who knows HTML code will understand it's very simple to design an interface using HTML, make the text bold or italics, and put the background colors. So that thing can be done, but if you do not know HTML, skip this also for now. You will need to spend some time into this email template. So I would just want you to go back and try this on your own. Creating email template, same thing, everything else is same. The only thing is that it has formatting options. So you try it on your own. Right? Okay. So that's about our email templates. Now the next thing that we are going to talk about is a console. So Salesforce allows us to design console. So what is a console? Console is a kind of custom application only. We have designed custom applications, right? Console is also similar to that, but console has a kind of user-friendly or fast navigation interface. The UI design of a console is different from the the UI design of a custom application. So in a custom application, what happens? You must have seen, this is a custom app, right? In custom apps, we have tabs. You go to an account, you click on the account, open an account. Now if you go to the contact, if you just go to one of the contacts of this account, the account page closes and the contact page opens up, right? So if you see, the navigation here is a little slow. If you don't feel that this is slow, you will start feeling it slow when you think from the perspective of a call center executive or a customer support executive. See, for sales people this is fine, because sales guy will have the time in hand to gather all the information and then make a call. But for a support person or a service, someone who is there providing service over the call, he receives a call, he does not know which client is going to call. Then again, once the call is received, this customer support person is not aware what questions the client is going to ask and which all pages he will need to navigate through to get the answers to his questions, right? And if it takes too much of time into navigating this, there will be two challenges. First challenge number one will be that the turnaround time increases, customer satisfaction goes down, customer is not very happy. Second thing, the company is actually spending too much of time on one call, which means again there is some the cost attached to it, right? More time spent on resolving an issue, which means you are spending more on that particular call, which can be reduced, right? So the cost is getting increased, customer satisfaction getting decreased, and does not help in any way, right? So console is a different type of custom application where the navigation can be done very quick. Okay, so specially designed kind of an application, okay, where it is the pages which are designed are very lightweight and the navigations can happen very quickly. Okay, so this is more for customer support executives. You can have this kind of thing for sales people also, but mostly for customer support. How this console is designed? Simple step is go to setup and then go to create, click on apps. Alright, when you click on new app, you have an option of creating a custom app and an option of creating a console, right? Now if you select console and click on next, then you see what kind of a console Salesforce designs. Let's call it support app. Click on next. So in the console what happens? Okay, same way for application we select which all tabs we want to see. Here also we will select, I want to see accounts, contacts, opportunities and cases. Do you see cases anywhere? No, right? Alright, oh, cases is here itself, sorry. So alright, so I take these four objects, four tabs. I include these four tabs into my console. Then click on next. Then select which object I want to keep as primary tab and which one I want to keep as secondary tab or a sub tab. So account we will keep as a primary tab, case we will make case as a sub tab of account, contact also will create it as a sub tab of account, and opportunity 2 will be sub tab of account. right? So I'll show you what happens after this. So out of these 4 tabs, 1 tab we have created as primary. Remaining 4 we have created them as sub-tabs of the primary tab. So that is done. Click on next. Whatever profile settings, think of it, and go to save. So my console is ready now. The console is ready to use. Now go to the console and see what has been done. So on this console, what you have to do, the moment you come here, you see this kind of a screen. Okay, this is how it looks. If you notice, in this you do not have that much of formatting. The Salesforce usual app has the sidebar, a lot of things, so that makes Salesforce a lot heavier. Okay, this is a lightweight thing, just data, that's it. Very light, designing, and remaining all is data. Now if you go and see here, all the tabs are listed here in the drop down. Again, there is no additional space taken for the tab panel and all those things, so that again puts some weight on the page design and all, so that has also been removed. All your tabs are available here in the pick list. Sorry, not here, here. So instead of having the tabs here, all the tabs are listed here: cases, accounts, contacts, opportunities. Now accounts is the primary tab, rest everything is second sub tab, which means if you open an account, the account will open up here. See, opens here. You want to open another account, go here, click on that. See, the first account is here, the second account is here. So the first did not get closed, and I am able to navigate from one to the other very quickly. See, and I don't have to close one for looking into the other one. Now for account, if account is a primary tab, that is the reason why it opens in this panel, on the topmost panel. If you try to open an opportunity under account, it will open in the second layer. See, the opportunity will open under this. So if the customer support team needs to view some data, let's say he needs to access the contact details of this account quickly, just click on this. See, the contact details are here. Wants to see some opportunity detail. See, so this is the contact of this company, this is the opportunity here, this is the account, actually the other account details, list of accounts. So everything you can navigate very quickly from here. So as a customer support executive, this kind of a thing will become easy to handle. Let's say the customer who has called, he is asking for a case, and all of a sudden then he says that, okay fine, tell me information on the opportunity. Then he says again, can you tell me about the case again? If you close that, you cannot navigate back, right? So you just keep on opening new windows, and finally once your call is over, you can close the entire thing. So it allows you to open multiple records simultaneously, and that too very fast, very quick. So it's very lightweight programming which has been used here. Clear? Right. Please tell me if you have any questions in this console part. So we have talked about page layouts, we have talked about page layout assignments, we have talked about the email templates, and then we have talked about the console. Please tell me if you have any questions in any of these.